Hey y'all, it's Robin. Welcome back to my channel. I am so excited for today's video because today we are talking about my 2023 most anticipated releases. So I shared a list last year of 15 books that I was really excited to read, which will be linked in all the places. And then last week I wrapped up that list and shared which of the books I read, what I rated them, all of the things. So all of those videos will be linked, but today I have 15 more books that I am really, really excited about for 2023. I tried to keep this list separate this year than my 5-star predictions, but there are 2 books that overlap. I tried really hard to keep them separate, but these are probably my 2 most anticipated releases for the year, so I just couldn't leave them off. I couldn't do it. I tried, I couldn't. So let's get right into the 15 books. So first up is Iris Kelly Doesn't Date by Ashley Herring Blake, and this is the 3rd and final book in the Bright Falls series. I absolutely loved book 1. Book 2 I thought was a bit of a disappointment, but I am really excited for this 3rd book. I'm very interested to get Iris's romance. She was in a relationship in book 1 that ended up ending, and now she's finally getting her happily ever after. This is another sapphic romance, and this one is a terrible one-night stand turned fake dating. That's all I know about it. If I'm remembering correctly from when I originally created this list, Iris has this really, really terrible one-night stand where she gets really drunk and ends up like getting sick and all of this stuff. And then she ends up going to a play or trying out for a play or something with a play, and she runs into her one-night stand, and for whatever reason they need to fake date, and obviously they fall in love. I really like Ashley Herring Blake's writing. I've given so many books of hers 5 stars. I actually think Astro Parker was the first book by Ashley Herring Blake that I didn't give 5 stars, and so I'm really excited to give this one a read. Next up is We Could Be So Good by Cat Sebastian, and Cat Sebastian is one of my favorite historical romance authors. I love how, 1, diverse her romances are, and 2, she always writes in a bunch of different time periods, and I really, really love that. And this one is actually set during the 1950s, I believe. And in this one, we are following a newspaper reporter who is befriending the like big newspaper tycoon's son who is set to inherit the business, but the son wants nothing to do with it. He doesn't know how to run a business. He doesn't want to run a business. He wants nothing to do with this company. And so he agrees to work for the newspaper for 1 year to essentially prove to everyone that he can't do it. But this other newspaper reporter keeps saving him from all of his mistakes. So every time something goes wrong, this other reporter will save him from it. And so he keeps looking really good to the company, and they form a friendship and eventually a romance. And this just sounds so cute. I love Cat Sebastian's romances so much, and I can't wait for another one from her. And then in a similar vein is Alexis Hall's next historical romance, and it is called Immortal Follies. And this one is a sapphic witchy historical romance. So we are following this like member of high society who believes that she is cursed because every time she goes to a ball, like things keep going wrong. And there is this duke who is supposed to be a witch. She is believed to have cursed her father to like inherit his dukedom and all of his money, and so everyone thinks that she is a witch. Our other heroine goes to her to help break the curse, and they have a sapphic romance, and I just think that is such a fun twist on a historical romance. I'm curious to see if this is magical in any way or if it is just all rumor and the 2 of them are just going to kind of fall in love. I love Alexis Hall's books. I think I've given almost every single Alexis Hall book that I've read 5 stars or close to 5 stars. I'm really excited to give this one a read. I think it's going to be so much fun. Then we have The Ruined by Renee Ahdieh, which comes out really early in 2023, and I absolutely cannot wait. This is the 4th and final book in the Beautiful Quartet, and I love the series. I have read book 1, I think 4 times now, and I am already planning my reread of the entire series in anticipation of leading up to this book. I am so excited for it. This is a YA fantasy vampire romance series following our heroine who leaves France to come to the US and start over in New Orleans. And once she gets to New Orleans, she ends up getting wrapped up in this paranormal group, and there's werewolves and vampires and all kinds of paranormal beings, and it's fantastic. I know book one was crazy hyped, and then everyone got super disappointed because it wasn't paranormal enough, but this series is so good. I disagree with all of those statements, and I can't wait to see how it all wraps up. Then we actually have a carryover from last year's most anticipated list, and that is Feed Them Silence by Lee Mandello. This was originally going to come out in 2022. It got pushed back. This is a sci-fi horror following a heroine who is a scientist, and she is obsessed with getting into the mind of a wolf, and she ends up creating this technology, like this translation software, so that she can like understand them because she desperately wants to be a wolf. And it is destroying her marriage and her career and all of these things. And I think it might be putting the wolf in danger. I don't know. I do not understand the synopsis at all. I'm so curious to see what this is about. This is one of those books that like it's going to go one of two ways. Either it is like exceptional or it is so weird and I hate every second of it. So I'm really curious to get into this one and see what it is all about. Another sequel is Endless Terrors by KJ Sutton, and I was a little hesitant to put this one on the list just because I don't know if this is going to come out this year. This is going to be the fifth book in the Fortuna Sworn series, and I am ridiculously excited for it. I love this series so much. It is fantasy romance surrounding fae and lots of different paranormal beings. There's a love triangle and amazing characters, and I really want to know where the story goes next, but I don't entirely know if this is actually coming out this year or if it is going to get pushed back. This is self-pubbed, so I know that like Kelsey is in the middle of a move and starting school again and all of that. I don't know if this is going to come out this year, but I am really excited for it, and if it does, I'll be reading it as soon as it releases. And then we have a YA fantasy on here, and that is Bring Me Your Midnight by Rachel Griffin. I talk about this a lot, but I don't read a ton of YA books. But Rachel Griffin is an author that I will continue to pick up just because I really love her writing and I love her settings and all of that. It's just, and she always incorporates really cool themes into her witchy stories. And this is another one surrounding witches who have powers involving nature. And I believe in this one, the witches have a lot of power. They like created a deal with the humans in their world where they end up like sending a lot of their power into the water, but they also protect the people from other things. The year that they do this, the heroine that we're following wasn't there for the ceremony, and so she maintained all of her power. And now, like, there's some sort of natural disaster or something happening, and she is needed to possibly help save society. There's also, I believe, a love triangle in here because she is promised to like the prince of something, but she ends up falling in love with a guy who has dark power. It sounds really, really good. Like I said, I just really love Rachel Griffin's witchy stories. I love the writing. Her worlds are really lush and her writing is beautiful. So I'm excited to see what this one is all about. And then we have What the Hex by Jessica Clare. And this is the sequel to Go Hex Yourself, which I really loved. I thought that was such a fun witchy rom-com. And this is following a character that we met in that book. And she desperately wants to become a familiar to a witch, but like nobody has picked her. And she ends up becoming the familiar to a warlock who is banned from his family. And because of that, his power is like greatly diminished. And they have an enemies to lovers romance. That's all I know about it. The series is so quirky and out there and funny and ridiculous. And I have such a good time. There's a lot of like meddling older women who are witches that just keep messing with each other and fucking shit up. And I love it. So I'm excited to give this one a read. All right, I apologize if the angle changed. I had to wrangle my cats because they were being chaotic. So I don't remember where I was, but I think I finished the last book. So now we're on to A Sinister Revenge by Deanna Raybourn, which is book, oh god, 5, 6, 7, book 8 in the Veronica Speedwell series. How are we 8 books in? How is that possible? This is a historical mystery with a slow burn romance. And we're following Veronica, who is a scientist. She hunts butterflies, and it is her and Stoker, who is another natural scientist, and the two of them solve mysteries all over London, and it is such a fun series. I love their slow burn romance. I have no idea how many books are going to be in the series, but I honestly hope it lasts forever. Like, I will read this series into eternity. Next, we have Starling House by Alexi Harrow, and this is another one whose synopsis I do not understand. I don't understand the synopsis at all. I believe it is a gothic fairy tale romance set at a haunted house. but I don't know that for sure because I don't understand the synopsis. But Alex E. Harrow is one of those authors that I will continue to pick up forever. She wrote one of my favorite books of all time, which is The 10,000 Doors of January. It's one of my favorite books ever. It has the most beautiful writing. Its characters and world and plot and everything like that are just, it was exceptional. I love that book. Another fantasy romance is The Foxglove. I don't know why I can't say that. Foxglove King by Hannah Whiten. And this is the same author as the For the Wolf duet. And this is a fantasy romance following a heroine who has a secret power to raise the dead, and she needs to keep it secret, and she ends up getting discovered, and because of that she is pulled into the court politics and things like that, and suddenly she finds herself living at a palace. It has a very similar premise to In the Ravenous Dark by A.M. Strickland, which I really loved. I gave this 4.5 stars, and so I'm really excited to give this one a read. I don't know if this is standalone. I don't know if this is another duet. I'm excited to give this one a try. I love me a good fantasy romance, and so I'm excited to see where this one all goes. Then we have the two that I couldn't leave off this list. They were on my 5-star predictions, and I couldn't leave them off. So first we have Queen of Thieves and Chaos by K.A. Tucker. This is the third book. I think it's the Fate and Flame series, if I'm remembering correctly, but this is a fantasy romance series that I absolutely love. I've given the first 2 books 5 stars. We're following this girl who is sent into this fantasy realm, and she drops into the body of a princess, and it is a really good enemies to lovers romance. I love the world building in here. I love the characters. It has a really fun, fast-paced plot. It's one of my favorite fantasy romance series right now, and so I'm really excited for this third book. I don't know how many books are in the series. I don't know if this is the last one, but whenever this one comes out, which I think it doesn't come out until later in 2023, I'm going to reread the whole series again. And then, of course, Manic by Onley James, which at this point in time is my most anticipated book for 2023. This does come out like the first or second week of January, so it won't be my most anticipated book for very long, but at the second in early December, my most anticipated book. This is the final book in the Necessary Evil series, and it is the book that I have been waiting for since picking up book 1, and it is Aiden and Thomas's romance. It is a forbidden romance, age gap romance. It is ex-adopted son romance, which sounds wild, it sounds ridiculous. It sounds totally unacceptable, but like, I'm here for it. I can't wait. I am part of Onley James's Patreon, and she's been releasing little chapter snippets, and I'm trying to not read them. But the little bits that I have seen, this book is so angsty, guys. I'm so excited for it. The moment that this thing drops onto my Kindle, I will be dropping everything to pick this out. And then the final book on this list is the next book from Alexandra Bellafleur, and that is The Fiancé Farce. I don't know if this is standalone or the start of a new series, but it's not at all connected to her Written in the Stars series. This is completely new. But this is another sapphic romance, and this one has such a cool premise. We are following a bookseller and a cover model for romance novels, and the two of them have a marriage of convenience. Do I know anything else about the plot? No. Do I know why they have a marriage of convenience? No. Do I care? Absolutely not. I am so excited for this book. I can't wait. I really loved that entire series from this author, and so I'm excited for a whole new thing from her. So that is all 15 books. Similar to what I did last year, I am going to create a graphic over on Instagram where I will have all 15 of these books, as well as some additional ones. I will probably pull some of the books from my 5-star predictions and add them onto the graphic just because they are highly anticipated releases of mine, but they won't be included like in the wrap-up or anything like that. It will just be a way for me to track these books throughout the year. And I will also post an empty version if you would like to make your own list to track throughout the year. But that is going to be it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. I will catch you guys in tomorrow's video. Bye!